So now we'll look into ABAP data dictionary, or in short DDIC. So data dictionary or DDIC. So what is a data dictionary?
I think a database.
So by using data dictionary, we can manage the metadata. So what is a metadata and what is data?
Metadata is data about the data.
That is definition, but tell me one example. What is data about data?
If we are defining some type to the variable and some, if you want to define that type,
Okay.
I mean, if we are taking a variable and defining that and defining the data type is something data about data, I think so.
Okay. Any other answers? Any other answers? So by using data dictionary, we can access database tables in ABAP, in application layer. Okay. Whatever the tables permanently stores data inside the database, we can access all those tables. You don't need to connect with the backend database. What is the R3 architecture? Presentation layer, application layer, and database layer. What do you have in database layer? Tables, right? Database tables which stores
Data.
data permanently. To work with these database tables, to select this data from the database tables, are we login into the database? In the previous examples, we created the programs on database tables, right? Are we going into the database level to check the table or data dictionary level? We check the data, we check the fields in data dictionary, right? SC11.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, but where those tables are actually available
The database.
in the database, in the database. But database tables are permanently available or stored in database. But by using SC11 data dictionary, we are able to access those tables and we are able to create new tables. We're able to check the data available in the table, right? But we are not accessing the database, right? We are not logging into the database, backend database. By using our GUI, and we are able to access the GUI database tables by using SC11 data dictionary option, correct? Now let's come back to our topic. What is metadata? Uh, for example, empid char 10. This is metadata. What is this? This is called metadata. What is data? This is data. The value, the actual value is the data. What is the metadata? Metadata is like just like nothing but field name, their technical properties like what is the character, what is the data type, and what is the length. That is metadata. Data about the data, right? So what type of data it is, what is the maximum length it can allow, what is the value we can save in that field. That is about data, right? So the first one is metadata and the second one is data. What describes about this data value? Metadata describes, right? So what is this value E100? It is a employee ID. What is the data type? It is a character type data type. And what is the length? It is character 10. That is metadata. Clear? Is everyone clear?
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Okay. So in data dictionary, what we are going to do? We can access the database tables. We can accept the database views. And we can also create data types like data elements, domains. So we'll see few important options which we are going to see now. We can manage database tables, views. View is a logical object, or maybe we'll discuss that later. We'll confine to domains and data elements. So we'll see first these two things which are available.
Structures.
Yeah, structures are there are many other things also there. Okay, so we'll discuss those later. First we'll see these basic options. What are those? Database tables and domains and data elements. Once we completed this, and we'll go to the further topics in data dictionary. Okay. Now, what is a table? What is a table?
We have set of fields.
A set of fields with
Collection of
yeah,
records.
List
with
of field
columns,
table.
with the list of table is a collection of columns and rows. It can store the data in the form of records,
Data.
right? It
Tables.
can store the data permanently, right? Now we'll see how to create these tables. You know how to open the tables in S11, and we'll see how to create the tables and what are the data elements and domains. What is a domain? Defines the
Technical
technical
attributes.
attributes of the table field. For example, if you take VBELN, VBLN is a table field, right? POSNR is a table field. EBL, VBA, in VBAK, VBELN is a table field. POSNR is a table field. In EKKO, EBLN is a table field. And EBLP is also a table field, right? But
Yes.
what do you mean by technical attributes? Data type and length.
Length.
What is the data type of the field and what is the length of the field?
Length.
So why we use domains? Why we use domains? Domains are used for reusability of the data type. So we can use same domain name in multiple tables. When you are creating same field in multiple tables, for example, there is a field employee ID. Employee ID is not going to be in only one table, right? That might be in 10 or 15 tables, right? Employee salary table, employee transportation table, employee master table, right? There might be employee attendance table. For all these tables, employee ID is common, right?
Yes, sir.
So when you are creating the same field name in multiple tables, so let's say two tables are creating by user 1 and three other tables are creating by user 2. All these five tables contains employee ID as a common field. All these five tables contains employee ID. Now user 1 might think that employee ID is a numerical field because it contains ID, right? He thinks that employee ID is a number and it is a numerical field, and he is going to assign numerical data type to the employee ID in his two tables. But the other user thinks that it might be a character data type and he is going to assign character 10 length to the employee ID, right? Within the same system, employee ID in two tables is a number type, and employee ID in three other tables is a character type. Is there any consistency?
No.
No, there is no consistency, right? So in one table that is a numerical type, in another table it is a character type.
Character type.
So to avoid these inconsistencies, right? So one user might assign length 5, the other user might assign length 10. In that case also there is no consistency, right?
Yes, sir.
So to achieve this, like to uh, to avoid these inconsistencies, we use domains. First we create a domain and we use the same domain wherever we are creating that employee ID, right? So that everyone can use that domain name. That contains, what does a domain contains? Data type and length of the field,
Length.
right? So we have other additional options also in the domain.
Will this domain contain fixed data type and length, sir?
Yes, for one domain
Okay.
you will be having one data type and length.
Okay, sir.
So in domain we have one additional option, that is case sensitive option. What is case sensitive option? When you are trying to save the data in the table, right? How it will be saved in, is it going to save in uppercase or lowercase? Even though you enter in a lowercase. So if you are not using domain, the data will be saved in uppercase.
By default, it will save in uppercase.
Yes.
Okay, sir.
But if you want to make it as a case sensitive data for a specific field, you want to make it as a case sensitive data. What is the option you need to use? Case sensitive option in domain. So you have this option in domain, case sensitive option. When you select this option in domain level, Whenever you enter the data, if you enter in lowercase, it will save as it is in the lowercase. If you enter in the uppercase, it will save as it is in the uppercase. If you enter the camel case, combination of both upper and lowercase, it will save as it is. But if you don't select this case sensitive option in the domain level, by default it will convert everything into uppercase, even though you entered the lowercase letters. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So we have one other option, that is a value table. In domain level, we have an option called value table. What is value table? Value table contains a list of possible values for that field. List of possible values for that field. For example, there is a field called employee ID, and it is configured with a domain. In that domain, we configured a value table. What does that value table contains? List of possible employee ID inputs for that field. Okay. Valid employee IDs will be maintained in that value table, so that user can select only those list of valid employee IDs. Okay. Clear? So value table is for domain
Yes, sir.
level validation. So we'll see one by one. I'll show you with examples. Don't confuse, but if you are not able to understand, that's okay. But the very important things what you need to understand is domain is a technical attribute of the table field, right? What are the technical attributes? Data type and length. So domain, we use domains for reusability of the domains, or reusability of the data
Data
type and
types.
length. Reusability of the data type and length to maintain some consistency. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Most probably your interview might start with these questions. Most of the interviews will start with this question. What is the difference between domain and data element? So what is a data element? Data element defines a semantic. What is that?
Semantic attributes.
Yeah, semantic attributes of the table field. What do you mean by semantic attributes? Description of the field. What is a field description? Okay. So what is a semantic attribute? Semantic attribute nothing but description of the field and field labels. Field labels nothing but field headings, right? For employee ID is the EMP ID, employee ID is the field heading, and it will display the data. We'll see when we are working with reports, these options. So what is the use of data element?
We can define the description of data field.
This is also for reusability. Okay. So we can use same data element for multiple table fields. Sorry, we can use same data element for the in multiple tables. Okay. When you are using same field in multiple tables, right? You don't need to create a separate data element for all the fields. You can create one data element and you can use same data element in all the tables. But what is the difference between domain and data element? Domain is a technical attribute of the table field. That means data type and length. Data element is a semantic attribute of the table field. That is field description
Description.
and field labels. We have few additional options also available in domain and data element. but we'll discuss once you guys are comfortable in this basics. Can we create a table without using data element and domain?
No.
We can create. Okay, there is no restriction. There is no such restriction. If you want, you can create a table without using data element and domain. Okay, but you cannot achieve these options like reusability, data consistency, and case sensitive option. All these things you're not going
We
to
can't
use
use.
if you don't use data elements and domains, right? There are few other advanced options also available in data elements and domains. If you are not creating a table using data elements and domains, so those options are not available for you, right? Clear? It's a very important interview question. Data element and domain, very, very important interview question. Okay. Now, shall we create a, it's a, see, this is also an important interview question. Can we create a table without using data element or domain? What is your answer?
Yes, we
Yes,
can
we can
create.
create with built-in data types, right? But what would be the next question? Then
What are built-in
why
data?
are you using data elements and domains? Right? What is your answer?
Because to maintain consistency.
Consistency and reusability.
Yes.
Also, we have case sensitive option in the domain, right? For that
Yes, yes.
reason, we need to use data elements and domains.
Value tables also.
Yeah, you are right. Yes, value tables and all these additional options you cannot use. We are not using domains and data elements. Okay. So what is the transaction code for data dictionary?
SC11.
S11. Let's go to S11 transaction code in the server. Let's create a sample table, simple table. Okay. To create the table, you have to select this option, database table option. To display the existing tables, what you need to do? Just enter the table name, for example, Mara, and display the table. This step is same for both custom tables and standard tables. Is it a custom table or standard table?
Standard table,
Standard.
How you know that?
because there's no
There
Z
is no Z.
Yeah, custom table should start with Z or Y.
Why?
Okay. So can you change the standard table? So table is already there. Can you edit the table? Edit the metadata of the table?
Change.
no, sir.
We cannot change directly. Okay.
Okay.
We cannot change directly the standard tables, right? Because it is a SAP delivered functionality. This functionality is provided by SAP as part of a standard process. We
Okay.
cannot change the table, but we can enhance the table. What is the difference between change and enhance?
Changing is
Enhance
completely
means to add or
Additional
modify
fields.
the
Not
some
data
modify.
doing.
Enhancing means we can add additional fields along with the existing fields.
without existing
Without changing the
disturbing,
existing fields, we can add additional fields. That's what enhancement. But changing means changing the
changing
existing
whole
fields,
the field.
changing the existing standard fields, right?
Oh,
That is not possible in the standard tables. You can enhance your new fields. That is possible. So let's create a simple table Z demo. Maybe I'll use 10 to indicate like to search easily. I usually create employee table example so that everyone can understand easily. Now what is the next step? Display. Table does not exist. Check the name. So there is no table with the same name, right? If you have already a table created in the database with the same name, it won't allow
it
you
will not
to
accept.
create again.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. Create.
Create the table. Continue. Provide the table description. See this asterisk mark, or in other GUI you can see the tick symbol. That means it's a mandatory input.
Yes, sir.
Provide the description, relevant description. Employee data table. Now it is a very important interview question also. Delivery class. Now go to delivery and maintenance. Delivery class. What is this delivery class? When you want to know about that field, right? Place the cursor and press F1 in your keyboard. It will provide details about the field. What is delivery class? Delivery class for controlling the data transport of tables for installations, upgrades, and client copy, and for transporting between customer systems. The delivery class is also used to extended table maintenance. Simply, so we use check the options here. So delivery class define what type of table we are creating. What type of table we are creating. So behind the scenes there might be different technical terms. Don't worry about all of them now. Okay. So what type of table we are creating? Is it application table, customizing table? There are different types of tables,
Storing
right?
temporary
System
data.
table, control table. So what is application table? A, master data and transaction data.
Transaction data.
Whatever the business data we are going to create in SAP, right? That will be in application
Application
table.
table.
That might be a master data or transaction data. That's called application table. Customizing table, it is for configurations. It is for configurations, not the business data. Okay, system configurations. Okay, so what type of table we are going to create? We are going to choose here. Are we going to are we going to create the application table, or are we going to create the customizing table or system table, right? For but for business data, what type of table we need to create?
Application
Application
table.
table. So that might be a master data table or a transaction data table. So what is the difference between master data table, transaction data table?
Master data
Yeah, master data
consists of
table contains data which changes very rarely. Transaction data table contains the data which changes
very
very
off.
frequently, right? Very often, whatever,
Yes, sir.
right? So bank customer master data is a master data table which contains account number, customer ID, customer name, email ID, phone number, address. This is called customer master data table. In the transactional data, customer transactions,
Transaction.
withdrawals, deposits, right?
Yes,
But
sir.
both comes under application table. Select application table. Delivery class. It is very important interview question. What is delivery class? Simple answer is we can select the type of the table. Is it application table or customizing table? Okay. Now go to data browse. Delivery maintenance allowed, so that it will allow us to create the records in the table. Usually we don't create the records in SE11. We just create the table. Inside the programs, we use these tables to create the data in the table or read the data from the tables. For our testing purpose, we can also create few records in SE11
This
data dictionary. Okay. So
okay,
delivery
sir.
maintenance allowed, so that it will allow you to maintain the data. Okay.
Display.
Now go to fields. What you need to mention here? Fields of the table. What are the fields you want to be created in this table,
Employee.
right? Here I'll tell you one important concept. Open Mara table. What is the first field available here?
MNDT.
MANDT. What is MANDT?
Client.
Client number. Give me a minute. Yeah, sorry for the break. Okay, so what is this MA and DT?
Client.
Client number, right?
Yes, sir.
So why we need this field in the table?
Because first mandatory thing is client, where we are providing some service to them.
No, client don't go to uh, business terminology like client customer. Okay,
Okay.
so here the client means it's a logical partition. I told you, right? In the same system, we might have multiple clients, right? Server is same, but we might have multiple clients. So we are login with client number 800 in the same system, 2020 system. There might be another client 801. Other user can log in with 801. But whatever the data you are creating in client number 800 should not be visible to client number 801. Table is same, table is same, server is same, database is same, application server is same. But whatever the data you are creating in client number 800, that should not be visible to other client,
801 client.
other client. That's called client dependent data. Client dependent data. So the data which you are creating in this table should be available or should be visible to the same client when you log in with the same client. When you log in with a different client, the data should not be visible for the
It
other
won't be
client,
available.
in the other client, right? So the table which contains MA and DT field, what we call that table? Client dependent table. Table or data, whatever, okay? Client dependent table or client dependent data. What do you mean? What do you mean by this? Table that
That is created on one client should be access.
not table. See, table can be created in any client. I'm talking about data creating inside the table, right? If you create data in the table in one client, the data should not be visible for other client. Metadata is same. Let's talk about metadata. If you take this Mara table, this is metadata, right? Table name, field names, these are all metadata. This metadata is same for in both clients, right? Metadata is same in both clients, all the clients. But what is different? The data which we create inside the table. For example, if you take material number 1, it is created on 2021, created by this user, and this is the material type, this is industry sector. If you go and log in different client 801, you may not be able to find the same material number in the same table because this material is created in client number 800. That's why I'm able to see this material number. If you log in into the different client and go to S11, open the table, you may not be able to find this material number because it is not created in the current client, right?
Yes, sir.
So client is a logical partition. Server is same, but should be a logical partition. So this table we called as a client dependent table, the table which contains MA entity field. So what do you mean by MA client dependent? The data which you created in this table in the current client, that should not be visible for other
Other
clients,
clients.
right? Okay, don't confuse. Client is not customer or anything. Okay, in the other business terminologies, we might think that client,
Is customer.
yeah, if you talk about projects, client is our priority, not like that. Okay, it's a logical partition. Okay,
Yes, sir. MNDT is mandate, right, sir?
Yes, yeah, you
Okay.
can call anything. Usually,
Other client.
how to make sure you are creating a new table and you want to make sure that whatever the data creating in the current client should be available only for the current client. It should not be available for the other client. How can you make sure that? By adding a MANDT field to the table. Always MANDT should be the first field of the table. Okay,
Yes.
clear? And if you don't use MANDT in the table,
Other clients also can access.
can access that data, can see that data. If you want to make it, if you want to make that data accessible for all the other clients, what type of table you need to create? Client independent table. So what do you mean by client independent table? The data, whatever you are creating in the table, will be available for all the other
All the
clients.
other clients.
Okay. So always
Mm.
MANDT should be a primary key. Please keep in that mind, right? So what is client independent table? The data, what you are creating inside the table, if it is available for all the other clients, that is called client independent table or client independent data. If we don't use MANDT field in the table, that is a client independent table. There is no restriction. Any client can access the same data. Okay, clear?
Yes, sir.
Now let's go back to our table creation. Now we are in fields. So in delivery and maintenance, we have selected the delivery class. What is delivery class? Delivery class is about type of the table what we are creating. Is it an application table or customizing table? So for application table, we select it for master tables or transaction tables, and delivery maintenance allowed, and go to the fields. Here we need to maintain the fields required in the table. Okay.
MNDT.
It is a key field. Key field means primary key. It's a primary key. It will uniquely identify the data in the table. It will uniquely identify the data in the table. If you have one primary key, we should not have repeated value for the same field, right? If you take employee ID as primary key, we should have only one record with one employee ID. You cannot insert multiple records with same employee ID. What is the data element? MANDT is the data element available, right? So since we did not talk about data elements, we'll use that later. Okay, but when you need to create a client dependent table, you need to start creating with the MANDT. Okay, clear? Now go to the fields, enter the field name. I'm creating employee data table, right? EMPID, that is a field name. Don't need to be a if it is a custom field, that doesn't mean that it should starts with Z. Okay, field name can be anything, but without any spaces. You can use underscore. Okay, you can use underscore in between EMP underscore ID like that. No hyphens allowed. Okay, but always make make the field name simple. Don't write uh, field names with 20, 30 characters, right? Like this.
Sir, one more doubt, sir.
Like this. Wait, let me complete this. EMPID. Select this as primary key. And since we did not talk about data elements, can we create a table without data elements or not? Data elements and domains or not?
We can create
We can create. For that, what is
with
the option you
built-in
have to
type.
select? Built-in
Built-in
type.
type.
You have to select built-in type. Select the data type. If you click on F4, you can see all available data types. So mine is a character type. Select char, or you can also type. Provide the length and no decimal places for character type. Provide the description of the field. Let me just save it. Save the table. Yeah, what is your doubt?
Yes, sir. For example, if you have created this, what I should say, this table
Hmm.
in 2020 server,
Okay.
for example, client number is 800.
Hmm.
You have created in that. When I'm trying to create in 801, which is 2021 server,
Hmm.
I cannot access this table, right?
You can access the table. You
If
can
we give
access the
MA and
table.
DT.
If you give MA and DT, yeah, that's what I am saying. You can access the table,
Okay.
but you cannot see the data which you created in client number 800. For example, you created an employee ID 100 in this table in client number 800. But when you open it in 801, right, you
I
cannot
can't
see
see.
that record.
We will get to know that we have one table with the same name,
Ah, right.
but we don't
Yes.
see
Yes.
any data.
And
Okay, sir.
in the other client, if you try to create with the same name, it won't allow because the table
There
name,
is
the
no
table is
data.
already created.
Okay, sir.
Table is already there. Metadata is already there. But it will
Not
where
sure.
can you find the difference when you are working with data? It won't show you the records which you created in the other client.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So I've created one field with character type 10, length
By using built-in type.
built-in type. Now let's create other fields also. EMP name. It's not a primary key. Usually names will not be a primary key. Name should not be a primary key because if you take any company as example, can you find persons with the same names or not?
We can find, sir.
Yes. But employee ID is unique always.
Yes, sir.
You can make it as a primary key, but that doesn't make any sense. I'm taking this as 40 characters. Provide the description, employee name, city, care 30,
City name.
city, phone. What is the suitable data type for phone number?
Number.
Number, numc, 10, phone. So these are enough for now.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I'm not taking any numerical field like salary or anything. We'll create separate table for salary data. Always remember, we should not include all the data in a single table. We should break the data into
Okay.
multiple tables. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So this comes under DBMS concept, normalization and denormalization, database management system. Yeah. Anyway, that's not required. Okay, we have to create separate table for each data. For example, employee master data, we create one table. Employee salary data, we create a separate table. Employee transportation data, we create a separate table. Employee attendance data, we create a separate table, right? We don't
Yes, sir.
include everything in a single table. Employee attendance, salary, and everything, right?
Yes,
Now,
sir.
I've included the fields. What is the next step? Save the table. Save the table. Let me save again. Why this information is
Specify
displaying?
client specific
Specify a client
application.
specific application table. It is recommending.
MANDT.
It is recommending to create a client specific table, but it is not a client specific table, right? It is a client independent table because we are not using MANDT,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Just recommending to use client specific table, that is client dependent table. Now
Dependent.
we're done with the field names, we're done with the delivery and maintenance field names. So what is the next step? Go to technical settings. That is very important. Technical settings. Now here, observe here, general properties, data class. What is data class? Data class defines what type of data you are going to store in the table, what type of data
A.
you are going to maintain in the table. That is, are you going to maintain master data?
Application.
Are you going to maintain transactional data? What type of data you are going to maintain? Application table, that is type of table. Please remember, that
Okay,
is
sir.
what type of table it is, right? Now here, what type of data you are going to maintain? Is it a application table or sorry, is it a master table? Is it a
Master
master
data.
data or transaction data? If you are going to create this table for master data, select APPL0. If you want to create this table to store some transactional data, use APPL1. There are,
APPL1.
yeah, APPL2 for customizing and
Mm-hmm.
organizational data. It is for configurations, right?
Configuration.
The
Yes.
remaining two are for, there are different tables. System tables, system data,
Data.
BW related data. Mostly we use APPL0 and APPL1.
APPL0.
Master data tables or transactional data
APPL1.
tables. Let's take it as an employee master data. Is it master data or not? What are the fields we have? Employee ID, employee name, city, phone number. Are these fields are master data or not?
Yes, sir. Master data.
Master data. These fields are not going to change very frequently, right?
Yes.
Employee name or employee ID, phone number,
They will be changed rarely.
very rarely. Yes. Select APPL0. That is for master
Okay.
data. Now we have one more option. Size category. What is size category? Size category is approximate number of records you wanted to store in the table. It is expecting to define some limit or define some approximate number of records you wanted to save in this table. If you
Okay.
select 0, it will accept up to
0 to 3400.
3400 records. If you select 1, it will accept up to 13,000 records.
13,000.
If you select 2, it will accept up to 54,000 records, right? So
Yes, sir.
it is asking you to select the approximate size you want to allocate for this table in the database. Where are you creating this data table? Is it in application server or database server level?
Application.
No, we are creating it in the
Database
database,
server. Sorry.
but we are using SC11 data dictionary interface to create the table in database. If any one of you have any knowledge on database, right? How you create the table in database? Using create table.
Create
Create table, and
table,
you have to
table name.
provide all the field names in a SQL
Yes, sir.
statement. You have to write, right?
Yes, sir.
DDL statement, data definition language statement, you have to write. But here, without using any SQL statements, by navigations we are creating a table, right? But in background, right, what will happen? We don't know. It might convert all our navigations into one SQL statements in background, and it will create the table in database. Okay, right? But in the front end, we are going through some
Yes, sir.
navigations. In the background, the system might generate one DDL statement, create table statement, and that will
Create table
execute in the
table.
database level and create the table, right? So what is
Yes,
this
sir.
size category? The approximate size you want to allocate for this table in the database. So if you select 0, it will assign size which can store up to 3400 records. Depends on your requirement, you have to select the size. So why we need to select 0? Can we select 9? Why don't we select 9?
If you have more number of records,
So I don't
you,
think I don't do any of that analysis. For ZDemo employee master data, I'll select 9. Is it appropriate? So it's going to allocate records. What is this? 55 million, right?
yes, sir.
So it's going to allocate that size. So if you take one picture in your mobile phone, it might allocate around, if it is a HD picture, it might allocate 10 MB, right?
Yes, sir.
If you take same picture for 100 times,
Place, place is waste. I mean, storage
it's waste
is
of storage.
waste.
Unnecessarily, you are allocating storage for this table, even though it is not required, right?
Yes, sir.
Maybe since it's a server, they might maintain huge database, which are in TBs, maybe more than that, right? But still we are going to create thousands of tables. We should save the database space, right? We should not
Yes,
unnecessarily occupy database space. For example, we are creating employee master data. So what is your company? Some TCS. How many employees are going to have in TCS? Maybe 1 lakh or 2 lakhs. Let's assume TCS is having 3 lakhs of employees, right? So what is the suitable size category? We can select this, right?
6.
Maybe up to this one, 4, size category 4. It will allow up to 8,70,000 records, from 2,10,000 to 8,70,000 records, because we TCS is having 3 lakhs plus records, right? So if we select size category 4, it can accept up to 8,70,000 records, right? Are they are not going to recruit overnight, right? They're not going to recruit 5 lakhs records or 5 lakhs employees overnight, right? It will take time, it will take years. But if you take any small company, so you can easily count what is my employee strength, maybe 100 employees. For 100 employees, why should I select size category 4 or 3, right? You are not going to hire 1 lakh employees in 2-3 days, right? As per your company's standards. If it is a small company, then depends on your you have to do that analysis before going to select the size category. Okay, so what
yes,
is the
sir.
relevant size category for this table? So for this I am selecting
0 to
0.
3400.
Yeah, now I have selected 0, right? Now I have selected 0. What is the maximum limit? 3,400.
3400.
3,400. And let's say in my company there are already 3,000 employees are already there, and in the next 4 months I have a project requirement so that I want to hire 1,000 more employees. Then what is the total strength? 4,000, right? So to
Yes,
maintain
sir. It will
all
be.
those new employees, is this table going to allow the new employees after 3,400 records?
No, it won't allow.
As per the size category, it should not allow, right? It should allow only up to 3,400 records. If there are more records, what will happen? Nothing will happen. What it will do is it will automatically
It,
assign
it
one more size category, that is 0, again plus 3,400 records. So when you are trying to insert
okay.
records after 3,400, the system will automatically assign one more size category, that is another 0, up to 3,400 records. It will double the size category, existing size category. Okay. Once that limit is also completed, Again, it will automatically assign one more size category. Okay, it won't stop you to create the records even this limit is exceeded. This is also an important interview question. What will happen if your size category limit is exceeded? Nothing will happen. It will automatically assign one more size category, right? But it will take time. It will take few seconds to allocate that size category by the system. Till then, your record insertion will be on hold, right? There will be some delay in the process, but it will accept the new records, right? To avoid those delays, right, we should always select the appropriate size category. Okay, even though you don't select a proper size category, it won't stop you to create the records in the table. It will automatically assign the size category. So there are other options like buffering, right? We'll see that in the next session. Maybe they're not important now. We'll see that in the next session. What is buffering and everything? What happened to this now? So important interview questions in this are data class and size category, technical settings, in technical settings. So what is data class and what is size category? And they'll ask you what happens if the size category exceeds. You know the answer, right?
Yes, sir.
Save it, go back, and I'll show you one more thing. In technical settings, we have database specific properties. These are specific to the HANA database. I'll explain these in details later, but we have two types of storage types. One is column storage and row storage. Column storage, right? Read performance is good in column store tables. For row store tables, data insertion is faster, right? Row store tables, data read is faster. Okay, and go to the table, save it, check the table. So this is enhancement category. So here it is available. These are warnings. You can ignore actually. You can ignore these warnings. What it is asking is, do you want to enhance this table in future with the additional fields? Go to, where is this table enhancement extras, I think. Yeah, this one in extras, enhancement category. So do you want to enhance this table in future with additional fields? Not classified, nothing is defined, cannot be enhanced means you cannot enhance in future. Can be enhanced with character or numeric, anything. Can be enhanced with only character like data. You cannot enhance with numeric data, right? I'm selecting this, can be enhanced character like or numeric, both.
What is
Copy.
deep, sir?
Deep is like we have deep structures. Okay,
Okay.
so
Okay.
I'll explain that later. That is not required now. Okay,
Okay, sir.
so you can also select deep, it will support. Okay, now check this. Anyway, this is optional. Okay, enhancement category is optional. It will just display the warnings. Check the table, save the table and activate the table. Now your table is active. Now go and check the contents. Is there any records available? Zero records, because we just created the table. How to create the records? In utilities, table contents, create entries.
It entry.
For example, E100 some phone number, save it. One record is saved. Let me click save again. What it is saying?
A data record
With
with the
specified keys already exists. So a record with the employee ID is already there. Let me change the employee ID. You don't need to change these values actually. Only primary key is required. A unique value is required for primary key. Created successfully. Create one more record. Phone number. Save it. Now go back. Check the contents.
number of entries.
Right? So how to create the tables? Entries. Go to utilities, table
Table
countries and
contents.
create entries. Usually in production, this is not how we create the records. There will be some front end screen. There users will enter the data and the data will be inserted into these tables. Okay. No one
Okay,
is
sir.
going to open table in SC11 and create data. Data will be entered in some front end screens and applications. Right?
Okay,
The
sir.
data will be inserted into these tables. Now, let's create a simple program to display this table data as output. Create a program. Executable program. Save. Actually, for now we are saving in the local package that is not transportable to the next system, that is test or production. So after few sessions, we'll start using packages. Now, mm, select
Parameters.
start from zdemo 10 underscore. Is that what the table name? I'll just copy this
ZDemo employee.
into table, the date of data of IT underscore employee.
EMP ID. EMP data.
Maybe I'll select up to 10 records. I'm not using any where condition. Up to 10 rows. What it will do, what this statement will do,
It will create
it will
10.
select, no, select statement is not to create the records, to select the records, to read the records from database table, right?
Okay.
So if you use this up to 10 rows, it will select first 10 records from the table without using any condition. Okay,
Okay,
clear?
sir.
First 10 rows, first 1000 rows, first 100 rows, like that you can select. If and if cl demo put display it underscore emp data, activate, execute the table. So we're able to display records from the table, 10 records. If we use up to 2 rows,
Only first two will be uh, output.
So the select statement will select only first two available records from this table, ZDemo employee table. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So that's about creating the table. So in the next session, we'll see how to create a table with the help of data elements and domains, and how to create the data elements and domains. Okay. Please practice. Please create a table and write a program to select the data. You can take any example. You can take any master data like employee, student, anything you can take. That's assignment for tomorrow.